Hey, all, welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I am Darren, I am your host, and today I've got another great guest for you, Mr. Joseph Pruitt. He is the CEO of Atlas PMG, which stands for Product Marketing Group. They have their hands in a lot of different grill companies, one of them being Kamado Joe, where they have a lot to do with the new Pellet Joe Pellet Kamado Grill. I'll be right back with Joseph.
Smoking, grilling, getting hot and hotter, sous vide and chilling from fire and water.
Hey, all, I want to introduce you to a company I just started working with, FreshJax Organic Spices out of Jacksonville, Florida. They're a small, family-run company that's fast-growing. I've tried a bunch of their different seasoning blends and spices, and I can tell you they're all fresh, all organic. None of them contain artificial flavors or sweeteners. None of them have anti-caking agents or preservatives. They all taste like they were just made for you yesterday. Check them out, guys. They're on Amazon in the link below. They have different sample packs, different blends. Like I said, they also have the individual seasonings and spices as well. FreshJax Organic Spices. Check them out, guys. I love them. Welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I am Darren. I am your host, and I'm glad that I have another great guest to be on here, Mr. Joseph Pruitt. You're the CEO of Atlas PMG, correct?
That's right. Yep.
All right. Tell us who you are, where you live, and all that, and then we'll kind of get into what you do.
Right. I'm Joseph. I'm the CEO of Atlas Product Manufacturing Group, and live here in Athens, Georgia. I've been here since about 2009, and we do a lot of product development in the grilling space and a few other markets.
So, yeah, you kind of touched on that, but now you're not a grill manufacturer yourself, so you don't make a brand of grill, but you work with a lot of grill companies by making some of their accessories, some of their things that are integrated into their grills. How did you get involved in this? How did you get this in your background? Are you have an engineering background? Where'd you come from?
Yeah. So I did my undergrad at Oklahoma State 20 years ago, and I double majored in mechanical and aerospace engineering and minored in art, and then went to the Savannah College of Art and Design down in beautiful Savannah, Georgia for my graduate studies. Did a master's in industrial design, which is like product design for those unfamiliar with that field, and set out on a career in product development, and somehow wound up in the barbecue space, but it was a bit of a journey to get there, I guess.
Now, out of college, did you go to work for a couple different companies, or did you start your own business right away, or what happened?
So right out of graduate school, I'd had a few internships in college doing some product development work. And out of graduate school, I ended up taking a position down in Central America, doing some manufacturing and innovation stuff down there for a luxury packaging group. Worked with them for a brief period of time, and had a wild ride, and then ended up taking a position with a consultancy in Atlanta, Georgia, doing product development work there, and worked there for a number of years, and then ended up branching out on my own. One of the guys that was working there with me, we ended up starting a business together, and he ended up moving to Southeast Asia. He manages our office and our team there, and I manage the office and the team here in Athens.
So, when did you get into the barbecue space? Was it when you created the Atlas company, or was it before then, or did you have dabbled in it before? Or?
Yeah, we kind of in product development world, you get your hands in a lot of different arenas. We did some stuff in medical and military, and a lot of lifestyle brand products. And through that experience, I met Bobby Brennan and Carrie Coker, who had started a company called Kamado Joe Grills, and got to know them pretty well. Two awesome people. Really have enjoyed working with them over the past decade. And they really have encouraged us to dive headfirst into this world of barbecue products with our experiences with them. And it's kind of branched out from there. But the genesis really, I have to attribute to Bobby Brennan and his leadership, I think, to kind of get us pointed in the right direction.
So did he kind of helped you guys along? Did he come to you with an idea and said, "Here's what I'm looking, I want to do. Can you guys do this for me?" Or how did what was the first thing that you guys did together?
Yeah, the first thing we worked on was with him was a really early version of what has since become a product for them called the iCommand. And this was probably back in 2009. And we were working on this barbecue controller product with them. And this was before really smartphones had really taken off. There were Blackberries and really early iPhones in the world, but this whole Internet of Things industry didn't really exist yet. And we had jumped into the project with them, and the world like changed really fast there in 2009, 2010. And by the time we had finished kind of developing that first iteration, everything had moved. But yeah, it was kind of getting into that foray with them and developing that relationship. And from there, we helped them with design and engineering on a number of their different grills and accessories over the past 10 years.
So the first thing was the iCommand, which is a temperature controller.
Right,
And,
right.
I had the CEO of Barbecue Guru on a couple weeks ago, and we
Yeah, yeah.
discussed. They're the first company that put one of those out, and it was
Right.
strictly analog back then, and none of
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So it was kind of interesting to talk to him about from when he first developed. I mean, the first thing they actually developed was a valve-based thing, on the top of the Kamado. They were working on a big green egg, I guess, back then, and it's changed. It changed iteration before it even hit the market. But just talking about how fast the technology has changed. I mean, you kind of hit on it there.
Yeah.
Before you turn around, it's different, and that's one of the things I want to talk about too. Technology in the outdoor space has changed. So, I mean, we've seen it in the inside the home with TVs, plasma TVs. I remember when they were $10,000 for a little one. That if you wanted one now, you can get them for a couple $100. Things like that. All the different electronics that we have now. But in the last 6 or 8 to 10 years, the outdoor, area has hit so much technology with everything has to have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and internet, like you said, the Internet of Things. Everything has to be connected, or you
Right.
can't even sell it anymore. Even with the grills, the pellet grills now, within the last 2 years, I've seen pellet grill companies that never thought of having, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on it. They pretty much have to, or they can't sell their grills anymore. So
Right. Yeah, it's really changed a lot. And I would say we're still in the infancy of trying to figure out what it means, this world, this connected world. And is it really necessary to have connectivity with your toaster and stuff like that? But I think the barbecue industry has really embraced it, which is exciting. It certainly makes it more challenging to get a new product on the market and make sure it's really working well from a connected standpoint. We really got in on the ground floor with this IoT Internet of Things world, doing a number of products across a few different industry spaces. And it's changed a lot, even in the last 5, 6 years. On the back end, as you're developing things, there's a lot more tools, there's a lot more capability, and it's becoming more and more streamlined, which is, you know, a little bit terrifying on one side, but on the other side, it's kind of the way the world's headed, and we're just going along for the ride. But yeah, totally, you kind of have to have a connected product in the grilling industry now to really get some good traction out there.
yeah, and you have to be really able to adjust on a moment's notice. That was one of the things I would talk to the guy from Barbecue Guru is like, they went from having just a strictly analog, thing that, all you could just touch, you had to literally push these little buttons and line them up to make it work, to now a totally integrated system that's hooked up to the Wi-Fi and everything else. And, it's just, it makes his head spin that, he could come out with something and then 2 weeks down the road, something else comes out that's even better. I mean, and I see
No
that
doubt.
happening a lot. So, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, you really have to stay on your toes for sure.
Just when you think you never, oh, there's nothing else they can bring out to the outdoor, cooking space, and here you go.
Right.
So you've actually developed a lot of things, especially for Kamado Joe. You worked with them. I guess they were the ones that helped you get started, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. They were one of our first main clients, and I would say they're our biggest client still.
So like you got involved in the rotisserie with them, right? That's the rotisserie is the rotisserie that can actually work with Kamados, which they were the first ones I think to actually come out with that, or
Right.
one on a mainstream basis, because I know all the big green egg people were buying these up. So how
Yeah.
is it to work with that?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, that's just grown like crazy on the Joe Tisserie side. They've become a very popular accessory for the Kamado grills, and it's a fun product. Kamado Joe holds the intellectual property on the Joe Tisserie, and so that's been good boon for them to maybe convert some big green egg users that might not normally look in other places, to branch out and come up with some cool accessories for their grills.
Now, did you develop that the way that it's shaped, where it kind of wedges down so that you can actually close the lid on that?
Yeah, so on the Jotisserie, we manufacture that. We did the design work for it. I can't say that we came up with that concept. That came through another venue with Kamado Joe, but we've certainly been along for the ride and have enjoyed that whole process.
And did you help develop the new AMP firebox as well?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we one of the big issues with the Kamado grills a number of years back was uh, just them cracking over time, and um, dividing that up into multiple parts, and having that um, be segmented so it doesn't have so much thermal stress in the firebox alleviates those issues with the firebox cracking. And yeah, so we worked on that with Kamado Joe quite a few years back, and I think that's been pretty successful, a good addition to the line.
Yeah, I had a original Big Joe, and I had my firebox crack, and it's not
Mhm.
just Kamado Joe. I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah.
every ceramic grill that has a ceramic firebox,
Yep.
eventually they're going to crack, because
Right.
they can't keep taking the stress of the heat.
That's
Mine
right.
was, I think, 2.5, 3 years old when it broke.
Hmm.
And if they're under a lifetime warranty, that starts to cost money after a while to.
That's right.
I know they built some of it into the cost of that, but
Yeah.
one of the things I loved about Kamado Joe is that, especially with Bobby, he was always looking to innovate, change things that didn't work, fix problems, and
Right.
the multi-piece firebox was just fantastic. When I got that thing and I put it together, I said, well, there's absolutely no way this thing's ever going to crack again, because it gets rid
Right.
of the whole stress from it, expanding and retracting things. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was just phenomenal, and still haven't seen others come out with anything similar to that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think they have some IP on that as well. So
yeah,
um, yeah.
but it's things like that that's really I love about Kamado Joe, because Big Green Egg's been around for a long time, but most of the accessories and stuff are third party.
That's right.
They don't develop anything new. I mean, I think they've come out with maybe 3 or 4 things, but the Joe Tisserie was one. I mean, Kamado Joe had to come out with that, and all the Big Green Egg people are buying them.
Right.
So I mean,
Right.
they quadrupled their market. Because Big Green Egg can't make that thing, and it'll fit a Big Green Egg. So it was
That's right.
smart on Bobby's part. And
That's right.
um, now, what other parts of the grills have you helped develop? Was the modular cart part of that? And
Yeah, yeah. So we designed the carts, top vents, some change up on the side shelves. Worked through a number of assembly things on the grill construction and how they all go together. I mean, at the end of the day, you're cooking in a big ceramic pot, but there
right,
is some good innovation there that's important. And yeah, we've supported things like the airlift hinge, and uh, we designed, engineered, and we make the dojos for Kamado Joe. That's been a
yeah,
successful and slightly controversial accessory, but we've really enjoyed seeing people use those and embrace them or not embrace them, depending on how you like to cook pizza. Um,
Now, why do you say it's controversial? Because users either love it or hate it?
no, I think it's some people might not want to spend the money on a Dojo when they
Oh
can
yeah,
just get a pizza stone and throw it in their grill. But a big part of the purpose and idea behind the Dojo is gathering people together, and we almost called the product, something like the pizza party or something like that. I say that a little bit tongue in cheek, but the idea is you're not just cooking one pizza; you're going to throw two, three, four, five pizzas in, 10 pizzas in, and so the Dojo creates that brick oven experience where you can cook a pizza really quickly and kind of have your family and friends gathered around and enjoy your Kamado in a more interactive way than you might normally do if you're doing like a low and slow and cooking for 18 hours. You can get your Kamado up really hot and do some nice quick pizzas.
well, yeah, and like you said, if you're cooking multiple pizzas, as soon as you open the lid and take that first pizza out, it takes a while for that Kamado to heat back up. So if you don't
Right.
have to, if you can pull a pizza out, toss it on the table, and then grab another one and toss it back in without losing any of the internal
Right.
heat, I mean, it's a great thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for me personally, I don't have one because I don't do a lot of pizzas out on my
Sure. Yeah.
Kamado. I do one maybe once a month, and I don't do but maybe one or two. So,
Yeah.
if it's somebody who likes to do them a couple times a month, or yeah, I mean, it's just like any accessory. I like the rotisserie, but there's some people that don't want to spend the money on a rotisserie because
Sure.
they
Yeah.
don't
Sure.
want to rotisserie. Oh, I can put a spatchcock chicken. Well, that's right, but
Yeah.
I like the rotisserie stuff every once in a while. So
Right. Right.
everybody has personal preferences, but
Yeah. For sure.
at least having the ability to have those type of like accessories is what I love. And
No
like I
doubt.
said, changes to some of the designs, like adding in the Kamado Joe has done with the slow roller,
Yeah.
working with the Sora on that, and then
Mhm.
so as far as how do you guys get involved in these individual projects or parts of the grills or accessories? What do you end up doing? Do you end up manufacturing it? Do you just design it and then turn it over to Kamado Joe's, that they manufacture it? Or
Yeah, it depends on the product and what's going on with it, but some things that we do manufacture for them. We've got a great team in Southeast Asia. My business partner, David Hemming, is a Georgia boy, but he's been living over there for the last 7 years or so and manages our team. We've got some great people there. And so we're making some stuff over there for Kamado Joe. Like we're making the airlift hinges. We're making a lot of these accessories like eye commands and um, uh, dojos and jotisseries and pellet joes and things like that. And then other times we're just helping to design and engineer something or making a quality improvement. And we'll work with Kamado Joe's primary production facility overseas to help support them as needed or if needed. But Kamado Joe now with Masterbuilt, they have an awesome team here in the States and also overseas supporting those efforts as well. So, um, we're all hands on deck and really enjoy the working relationship we have with those guys and supporting however we can. So yeah, I think pretty much just about everything you're seeing on this page here, we've at least touched, if not have been pretty heavily involved in. Um, from a design and engineering standpoint, and then also on the manufacturing side.
so I want to talk about the pellet Joe, because this is the
Yeah,
newest thing that hit. Last year it was the three models came out,
right,
which had the new aluminum side tables, which you had a part in, I
right.
assume, and
Yep,
then the way the new carts, are
right.
designed differently because they had to, the way they had to redesign the three model, make it a little bit bigger to fit the slow roller in there.
Yep,
So, I mean, that's a whole redesign. But now the Pellet Joe is the biggest thing, and this is one of the things that's going to be controversial. You were saying the Dojo's controversial because if
right.
you've watched any of the Kamado Joe uh, Facebook groups or forums and stuff, either people are excited about it or they say, I don't know why they made this.
Right, right. And personally, I love that controversy. I think uh, people talking about it is a beautiful thing if you love it or hate it. But Kamado Joe's, I think, always going to be a charcoal brand company. That's the bread and butter, and it's they're really good at that. The Pellet Joe is a Kamado style grill that runs on pellets, And it's just another way to barbecue. At the end of the day, to barbecue, you need heat and time, and the Pellet Joe offers that. And what I think makes it different than a lot of the pellet grills on the market is its capacity to hit higher temperatures. You can get up into searing steaks. We just seared a couple of ribeyes on the Pellet Joe today. Get some beautiful sear marks. And that high heat also allows you to really get your grill cleaned out. If you've done like a low and slow and your grill's all greasy on the inside, you just crank it up at the end and it's like your self-cleaning oven at home. It just torches everything, carbonizes it, and makes it really easy to clean it with a scrub brush or in the dishwasher or whatever. And so there's some really unique benefits to the high heat. And then also you just got really great thermodynamics going on in this grill. It just sips pellets. So, you have other grills bragging about how my hopper on this grill can hold 40 pounds of pellets. I don't necessarily think that's a great thing. On the grilling side, I think being efficient is part of the game. And so this grill is 2 to 3 times more efficient than your normal pellet grill out in the market. And some grills even up to 4 times more efficient. So on 10 pounds of pellets, you can get 14, 15, 16 hours, where on other grills, you might need 20 or 30 pounds of pellets to do that.
Yeah.
So, there's some great things. It's certainly not for everybody, and we understand that, but it's a beautiful grill. It's fully integrated together, so it looks and feels like it's part of the Kamado family. It doesn't have some wonky hopper sitting out on the side or doing anything like that. It utilizes those great Kamado Joe ceramics, and it's a lot of fun to cook with. I mean, you can do some great low and slow. You can do some great high heat searing. And, part of the struggle with Kamado grills is that they can be a little bit intimidating the first few times you use them. There's a learning curve there, and I think some people maybe shy away from getting into the Kamado experience because of that learning curve and learning how to control your grill. And the Pellet Joe kind of takes that learning curve out of it, makes it a lot easier and a lot more straightforward. So there's some great things there, but if you're a Kamado Joe fan and you love your charcoal, I mean, stick with your charcoal. It's a great thing. But if you're, a Traeger user or somebody else that's into pellets or wanting to get into barbecue, I think the Pellet Joe is an awesome opportunity to have a lot of fun out in your backyard.
I've got multiple cookers out on my backyard, so I know there's a customer. There's a time and a place for just about every cooker. I've got a flat top out there. I've got a Kamado Joe. I've got a PK grill. I've got a Hasty Bake. I've got the
Yeah.
Camp Chef pellet grill.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes I don't feel like getting a fire going and waiting for it to heat up and all that. So I'll turn the Camp Chef pellet grill on. So
Yeah.
sometimes I like just firing up the PK grill so I can have it right next to the, if I'm going to just grilling some burgers or a steak or something, it takes me 2 seconds to get that thing going.
No doubt.
So, I mean, there's multiple cooker. I mean, I've never been into this whole brand, thing or type of cooker. And it's everywhere. It's not just in barbecue. It's in just about everything we do. You got the Ford versus Chevy people.
Right. Yeah.
Pickup truck versus the car guys. It's
Or
just
electric versus you name it, diesel or whatever. So it's
I
just
mean, it's just you're going to
right.
have that, and like you said, there's these are not aimed at the diehard Kamado guy who
Right.
likes charcoal and real wood. I mean, they're aimed at somebody who wants to a little bit more convenience, but have the same type of efficiency that you get in a Kamado Joe on the charcoal side. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I like about it. So the way you guys develop this, and I don't know how much did Kamado Joe have involved in this, and how much of it was you guys, and how much of it was somebody else.
Yeah. So I approached Bobby with this idea maybe about 3 years ago now, and he was excited about it, but the timing wasn't quite right. But probably about 18, 20 months ago, they greenlighted the project and they gave us a lot of liberty to really jump in and manage the design, the engineering on it, and pull this thing to life. So we've been working pretty hard on it for the last year and a half, and we're also doing the production on it for Kamado Joe, and they're just now starting to roll out into the world. So yeah, it's we've been pretty heavily involved in this one, and very excited to see it get out there. I think it's gonna do great. It's gonna be a really fun grill for Kamado Joe users, and we're just very happy and excited that Kamado Joe's doing this product and pushing it forward. So
Now it's a big change for a company that hasn't, really had to deal much. Well, Bobby was kind of early on because they got Desora involved in the iCommand and all that. They had some engineers, but like with Weber, for instance, they came out with their pellet grill, late last year, and they had never. That was the first thing, that it had to be plugged in with them. I
right,
think, that they've never had to deal with software, and they had, of course, when they came out with theirs, they couldn't just come out with a analog pellet grill. They had to have the Wi-Fi and everything because it was already out there. So,
right,
they really a wake up call to them, because when they first released those, everybody had really high expectations because it's Weber. They're one of
right.
the top barbecue companies in the world, and everybody knows who they are and what they are. But they got panned because some of the issues that they had with their pellet grill,
Yeah,
people were trashing them, sending them back, and they had to come out and fix a few things. So
yeah,
it didn't look like they had done a lot of testing, real world testing, having people beta test it at all. It just, they had their designers just kind of design it and put it out there.
right.
Kind of gave them a black eye. But you guys, it doesn't seem like, I've seen people using this and firing up, and I haven't seen anybody really say they've had any kind of issues with it at all so far.
Yeah, well, knock on wood. We've, inevitably with the new product launch, you're always going to have some bumps coming out of the gate. And there's so much pressure in this industry to innovate, come up with something that's different. It's not a me too. And, I really feel for those Weber guys. I think there's a lot of really smart people over there. And I do think that they uh, gave it a great shot coming out of the gate. And I think that they'll end up having a really solid, great product long term. But it is hard to, when you have that kind of visibility, to go through a brand new product category like that in such a way that they did. But yeah, I think on our side, we'll there's things we're still learning about it all the time, but we have done quite a bit of testing. This global pandemic has slowed us down a little bit on the product launch. We were originally hoping to have it out there in the springtime, but just based on the dynamics of all of that, everything got slowed down. But the silver lining there is that we did have some more time to test it and refine things, and get some grills out to a few users that really gave us some good insights and helped us make things better. But kind of getting back to the IoT side, the connected side of these grills, one of the great things that we can do with a grill like the Pellet Joe is, as we refine and improve upon it, we can release new firmware to the grills that update them and make them better. So our big goal was making sure the hardware was really solid, really robust, and that this grill was built to last a lifetime. And then things like tuning out firmware and stuff like that can happen over time. But that's been a big part of our focus as we've launched this. But yeah, it's a challenge. The iCommand, Desora did a good job on that. They did a great job on that. They're a great partner with Kamado Joe as well, and they've been involved with the Pellet Joe too. They've been doing the whole app development on that, and the Pellet Joe is controlled through the same app that the iCommand is controlled through. And so I think all the experience and lessons learned with the iCommand over the last 3, 4, 5 years that we've all worked through with Desora and Kamado Joe have all been reflected coming into the Pellet Joe. So I think that there's some knowledge base that we've built on with all of that. And then our company, Atlas Products, has done some other pellet grills over the past few years. So we have some experience with pellet technology in general that we've brought to the table on this grill.
That's good. Well, so unlike the Kamado Joe, I mean, this looks like a Kamado Joe when you look at it. So if you
Right.
look at it, you go, well, that's a Kamado Joe. Then you walk up to it and you go, well, wait a minute, what's this big thing in the front? And,
Right.
so, but
Mhm.
the bottom part is not ceramic, right?
Right. So that lower part is aluminum. It's die cast aluminum. It's pretty thick, heavy duty. And there's a control knob down there. You can see there's not a screen. We did that really intentionally. The screens break, and they also become really dated really fast. And we don't want this product to look really dated in 5 or 10 years. And so you don't have a screen on it for that reason. But it is a really smart grill. It has a pretty big processor on the inside. It connects to your Wi-Fi. It connects to your smartphone, and so you can still have that experience with a screen if you want it. But when I'm cooking, when we're designing a grill, we want to be grilling, and we don't want to be programming something. And so when I'm cooking, I want to be cooking. So this grill, you can walk up to, turn that knob on the front, and your grill automatically starts up and hits whatever temperature, maintains the temperature that you set it to. So we really wanted to clean up that user experience and differentiate this grill from a lot of the other grills on the market. Get rid of that screen, get rid of the kind of the clunky displays that are out there, and really have this thing feel and look timeless, which I think is a big part of the Kamado Joe brand, with all the other grills that they have.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely looks, like you said, you look at it, it's a Kamado Joe. Now
Right.
the top part, the lid is ceramic though, so it gives you that the thermodynamics that you're looking for on a ceramic grill to be
Right.
able to retain that heat in there. Like you said, that's what makes it so efficient. Is most of the cheaper pellet grills, they're thin, one ply sheet metal,
Right.
so it just throws off heat. So that's one of the reasons why they're so hard to get up to any kind of searing temperature. People
Right.
don't realize that unless it's like double insulated or something like that. They're
Right.
really hard to hold their temperature because they're throwing it off all the time.
Yeah, especially in colder climates, it can be a nightmare.
Right.
But yeah, the upper part's all ceramic, and then the red part on the lower base has a ceramic shell on the inside that's about 1 inch thick, same as the rest of the grill. But then the outer skin that you see, even the red outer skin, is aluminum, and that's a manufacturing thing. But it also helps with the thermodynamics to keep your grill cooking at the right temperature. So your whole inner cavity, everywhere you're cooking on the inside, above and below, it's all that KJ ceramic material. So you get the best of both worlds.
Now, did you have to kind of how did you design the firebox for this? Because I've seen it, and it's kind of like most of them are round that you see in all the other pellet grills, and this one's kind of like a half moon shaped.
Right. So we integrated the hopper inside the grill that's holding all of your pellets. And then we have an auger that's pulling the pellets up at an angle into the firebox. So to get everything to fit in there, we had to move that firebox a little bit towards the back of the grill. But we have a heat deflector on top of the firebox, and then we have a drip tray. And as your fire is generated back there, we did a lot of work and tuning to get the heat distribution pretty even throughout the grill. So you've got a couple of layers where the fire's coming through to give you a really even, clean cooking experience. But yeah, that firebox is a unique shape, and it is a little bit towards the back. But it's everything's got a purpose in there, and it just had to fit the geometry we were working with. So
Not a lot of extra space in there for anything, huh?
yeah, everything's pretty well integrated in, and um, yeah, making it all fit was a challenge in itself, but we made it happen. And then just getting you're cooking 600 degrees up top, you have to keep all of your electronics and your pellets and everything cool down at the bottom. So we did some pretty creative things with temperature breaks in there, to keep the bottom of the grill cool, and just how we have our airflow coming in through the grill keeps all the electronics and motors and everything nice and cool, but still lets you cook really hot up top. And if you walk up to the grill and the grill's at 600 degrees, you can still put your hand down and touch that lower black aluminum part, and it's cool to the touch. So you're not burning yourself when you're changing your temperature or opening your hopper door. So there's a lot of work that went into that, but those are the kind of things that hopefully nobody even has to think about or notice. If we're doing a good job as a designer, it's those kind of things that just are taken for granted, and that's what we're always striving for.
Yeah. So I want to touch on some things that it doesn't have that, like maybe some of the other pellet grills out there
Yeah.
do. You can't switch out your pellets, right? Once you load your pellets in, they're pretty much in there until you burn through them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you could vacuum them out, but otherwise, yeah, they're in there until you burn through them.
And it's design. You don't want to have a door built in there, like you said, because you have all the stuff in there that fits in there just right, and you've got the thermal thing going on. You want to make sure everything stays cool. But another thing is, it's not, like you said, a big 40-pound hopper. But then again, you don't need a 40-pound hopper if you're cooking much more efficiently. So I think that's a good thing. I think it's a sleek overall design that looks really good to me. I mean, I've heard about it for the last couple of years and them working on it, and I was kind of like, what are they going to do? I just couldn't understand. But now that I see it, it makes everything on there makes total sense. Now, it is kind of not really deep as far as cooking space goes. So one of the things I heard that is the rotisserie won't work with it because of
Yeah. I don't think we're recommending the rotisserie on it. You can put it on, it'll fit, but if you got a big chicken or something in there, it's not going to be able to rotate very well.
right.
So yeah, the rotisserie is unfortunately not a great accessory fit for this. But with pellet cooking, you get a really even cooking experience, and there's some benefit to that I think can outweigh the rotisserie. The lack of capability with the rotisserie. But yeah, that is one of the drawbacks.
So let's compare the convection fan in this Pellet Joe to the iCommand fan. Um, the Kamado Joes are a convection type cooker anyway, but just not nowhere near as efficient with a fan like most pellet grills have. So is the convection fan in the Pellet Joe like a lot stronger than the iCommand? I mean, is it more of a convection?
Yeah, we have a lot more control over the fire with the Pellet Joe. So the Pellet Joe can react really quickly. You open your lid, you close your lid, you throw meat or food on your grill. It can react very quickly and compensate and adjust temperatures, and rebound and control. So you have a lot more control because you're not only controlling your fan speed and your fan power, you're also controlling the rate that you're feeding pellets into the firebox. And so we have all these variables we can play with to really give some good control to the grill. The iCommand has a pretty powerful fan. It's running around 20 CFM, which is moving some wind. But it just when you're working with a big fire, you don't have quite as much dynamic control. But I mean, I think I don't want to say that's comparing apples and oranges. Maybe it's comparing two different brands of apples or something. But uh, yeah, the iCommand is kind of its own beast in and of itself, and I think it does a really good job of controlling temperature in a charcoal grill, and definitely doing more of the low and slow side. I don't personally use the iCommand when I'm cooking really hot or searing steaks. I think some people do, but it helps to start up the grill and things like that. But the so from a CFM, kind of the amount of air that they're moving, they're probably pretty similar, but there's just more variables, and it's just a little bit of a different dynamic going on with the pellet cooker
Yeah.
than with the
Well,
iCommand.
it's like you said, you can control how many, how fast the pellets are being fed in there, which you can't do. If you got your charcoal and your, wood blocks in there, you're not going to can't move them out and in. So,
Right,
but with the pellet grill, you can, how fast that auger is moving and how many pellets are getting in there to get that fire going or not go.
right,
So yeah, it's a totally different dynamic. And I think a lot of people, it's one of the things they don't understand, if they're not familiar with the way, smokers and grills work. When they look at a pellet grill, are like, well, what makes it different than that one? Well, because there's multiple things you can adjust with the pellet grill. So it's not just that it's easier, for convenient for you, but you can control a lot more with
right. Yep,
the algorithms and stuff.
that's right.
So how I know you just started rolling these out, but so far, how much is the demand? I mean, have you sold out already? I mean, are they moving pretty good? I know
Yeah,
this is a bad
uh,
year for all this stuff because
right.
you never know what's going to happen with the COVID and all that's going on. So
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are probably waiting and seeing, and there's energy and excitement around it. Uh, we've shipped in a few containers of pellet Joes, and I think they're all spoken for. Um, I'm not totally in the loop on all the exact sales things on that side of things. I'm more on the operations. side. But as far as I know, there's a lot of interest and excitement around it. We're going to have a number more containers headed over for the cooking season in the springtime. And so we're actively, still in production on everything. And but time will tell, but I think there's a lot of interest in it so
Yeah.
far. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot, like I said, there's a lot of new grills that have come out in the last couple of years. And
Mhm.
I think that's what you're looking at too, is not just, you know, coming into a pellet market it's well established, but there's other things that are competing against the pellet grills now. And with that,
Oh, yeah.
Masterbuilt having their own, their 1050 and 560,
Yeah, the Gravity series. Yeah.
the Gravity series that uses charcoal, kind of like a pellet grill would, and with some of that same similar type of control. So,
Yeah.
and that's another part of that, how technology has changed in the backyard.
Yeah.
So let's talk about. So you guys worked really good with Kamado Joe. You've done a lot of things. You developed this pellet Kamado, which is now there was one before, the olive,
Yeah.
pellet, but that never really took off. I think they had a lot of issues, a lot of design issues. I know that I saw a lot of people complaining that they had a hard time, with the ash blowing all over in there and not working really well. So did you guys use any of that? What you heard about them to throw into the pellet grill or pellet
Yeah,
grill?
I mean, we definitely did our research and looked at what had been out there before and kind of previous technologies and try to learn from those as well as we could. But yeah, I mean, inevitably doing a Kamado pellet grill is a daunting task, and it's a big project to bite off. But yeah, I think I'd be lying if I said that we didn't learn from past products on the market. So we definitely looked into
Yeah.
those things.
Well, you're always going to that way you can make it better, right? You don't want to make
Right.
the same mistake somebody else did. Hey, all, I want to welcome back Inkbird Products as a sponsor of the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. Inkbird makes many great different temperature controllers, thermometers, all kinds of time and temp controllers. But one of the best things that they make is their new sous vide circulator that includes Wi-Fi, 1,000 watts of power, and super quiet at a really affordable price. It's one of my top picks for a budget sous vide circulator for people who are just getting started. Make sure you check it out in the link below. Check out Inkbird. Welcome back, Inkbird Products, to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. So speaking of that, so you guys are not just working with Kamado Joe now. So you've worked with other grill companies, and you put out other products. I know you have another separate company, and then we'll talk about that too. But you work with Kudu Grills, which is I don't even know how you describe that grill. I'm gonna go back and share the screen again so people can kind of see
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
they are.
Kudu is an awesome company. Their slant is on kind of the South African style braai cooking,
Yeah,
and it's an open kind of cooking over an open flame. And you've got we might in the US call it like a cowboy cooker or something like that, but you've got your coals, you've got your heat down in your fire box there, that big circular tub. And then you've got your cooking surfaces, and there's a cast iron pan on this picture we're looking at here too. And so you can raise and lower your cooking elements to get them closer or farther away from the fire. You can also swing stuff out away from the fire. But yeah, that's a really fun, I think, very social grill. I've had a few cookouts where we're just throwing steaks on there and pulling them off, cutting them up for people, and cooking fries and veggies and things like that. There's a lot of fun accessories. The grill's fairly portable too, so you can take it to the beach or your lake
yeah,
house.
that's what I was saying. Probably a good
Yeah,
camping grill, or take to the beach or the park or whatever. You can cook multiple things on it. To me, it
yeah,
looks kind of similar to like what an Argentinian grill, or
yeah,
but a little bit more portable, a little bit more.
yeah.
So you
So
help them out with some of their accessories and all that.
yeah, we're helping them on the production side of things, making all this stuff for them, and uh, doing a little bit of innovation. But they had a very strong vision well before we met them, and had a great brand. They're a really cool company. It's been awesome working with them. Um, so
And so let's go down to now the Hero Grill. I've actually seen this. I went to a barbecue competition um, right before COVID hit. I think it was like
Yeah,
like a month before. It was like January or February down here, and there was a guy selling these. So
cool.
how did you come about this?
Yeah, so we were basically doing some work with Fire and Flavor, which is another great company in the cooking space, and we came up with this idea and pitched it to them, and they were really drawn to it, thought it was great. So we developed it out, working with them on it, and it's basically a portable um, barbecue experience that you can take backpacking, camping on the boat, whatever. And you get these pods of charcoal that you slide into your grill, and they're really quick match light charcoal briquettes, and it gives you a really clean, even cooking experience. And kind of depending on how you set it up, you can do burgers or brats on it, and you can also sear steak, cook some bacon, do all kinds of things like that. So it's got good versatility, and I think these are starting to roll out uh, into some big box across the country. They're in quite a few retailers. You can buy them online currently, um, but going into next year, they're going to be going to the big box. So
Oh
it's been
yeah.
a really exciting project to be a part of as well.
Yeah, I saw him. He was actually, I think he was cooking up some, brats and hot dogs and stuff on them, just showing them. But it
Yeah,
looked pretty cool. I mean, something you could, like you said, throw it in a backpack and take it with you wherever you go. I mean, if you're
yeah,
cycling, I know people that, go on these cycling trips, for days in camp and all that. I mean, that's something you can
yeah,
just, yeah, it's really, really something
yeah.
pretty cool. Now, how much do those like charcoal pods run?
They end up being let's see, I think retail maybe around $7 a
Yeah,
piece.
yeah,
So a little bit on the premium side, but you can very easily spend that when you're cooking with lump charcoal or whatever. But
yeah.
they're fully biodegradable. The ceramic liner in there is a material called perlite, which is in the ceramic family. It's kind of a puffed glass or like a volcanic glass, and you see it in potting soil a lot. Those little white beads,
Hmm.
very nature eco-friendly. And so when you're done cooking with the pod, you can stamp it out, put the fire out, and the whole thing's biodegradable, um, or eco-friendly, I guess I should say. It can go in the trash, but you can also mix it in with your potting soil or whatever to kind of bring it back to nature. So that's a big slant on that product line, is the portability and also the eco-friendly side of it.
Yeah. All right. So now let's talk about the spider.
Yeah.
So the spider is something that you guys make, correct? This is your
Right.
company?
Yeah. So Spider Grills is our brand, and we basically have a product line that adapts to Weber's infamous kettle grill. And this particular one we're looking at is turns a Weber kettle into a pellet grill, and you get the flexibility where you can really easily hook it up or unhook it. No tools. You don't have to modify your grill at all. You can turn it into a pellet cooker. And on the other side of that, you can unhook it and just use it as a regular um, Weber kettle when you're not cooking with pellets. But it's been immensely popular. We have not been able to keep this in stock, which has been kind of shocking to us. No matter how many we make, we seem to sell them by the time they get here. And people, I think, really love their Weber kettles, and Weber kettles are not really great at doing low and slow. And so this gives people the opportunity to do low and slow on their one of their favorite grills on their backyard. And it's kind of your low cost, it's your value play. It works really well. It's really stable, really solid. But lets you get into the pellet experience without having to buy another grill, spend $500, and you kind of can get the best of both worlds. So I would say this is the other end of the spectrum from the Pellet Joe, from a price and uh, kind of value standpoint. Um, so it's a very different consumer, but it's been very well embraced. We're really excited about it. We have a few other cool products for Spider that are coming out next year, that I think are going to do really well, and just keep adding to that line of neat accessories and products for the Weber experience. So we've had a great time with that one, and when as we have innovation that doesn't fit with our other brands and clients that we work with, we kind of use that outlet to put products into the spider grills category. So
Yeah. Well, it's always good to have a place to put that stuff. If you come up
right,
with something, come up with an idea, you don't
yeah,
want to have to sell it to somebody else. I mean, put it together. But so I like the idea of that spider. I mean, especially, somebody, like you said, has limited patio space. They love their kettle and they like using their kettle, but they don't want to have to, buy another grill. That gives them the ability just to hook it up whenever they want to use it as a pellet grill.
right.
How easy is that to hook up? I mean, does it literally just take like two or 3 minutes to hook it up?
Yeah. It's once you kind of have it set up for your grill, Weber's come in a few different height sizes. And so there's a couple of knobs on the side. You kind of have to set the height to your grill. And once you have that set up, you can install it and uninstall it from your grill in a few seconds. I mean, it's really that easy. So it's a plug and play type product. You don't have to drill any holes in your grill or do anything weird. You just take whatever Weber grill you've got, and roll it up to it, and you're off cooking.
Now, will it fit any size? Will it fit the 18, 22, the bigger ones?
Yeah, no, it's all around the 22 size currently. We might roll out some other sizes eventually, but the 22 is
The most
I'd say
popular.
80% of what Weber's selling in the kettle category. Don't quote me on that, but that's our guesstimate. And this one fits a number of different iterations on that 22-inch size. So it does not fit every single Weber kettle on the market, but it fits a pretty big chunk of them.
Now, would it fit any other type of kettle? Like, let's say the new Slow and Sear, the SNS kettle that came out there, which is similar to the 22-inch Weber.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's got to fit into the hole on the bottom.
Right.
That's one of the air intakes, and so we've really designed it around the Weber. It doesn't mean that we won't have some adapters in the future that won't fit onto other brand grills, but right now we're having a hard enough time keeping inventory just for the Weber market.
Well, the Weber's got,
So,
but yeah, they've got the market locked. I mean, I'm sure
right.
the rest of the companies that are in the kettle market are probably less than 20%.
Sure. Yeah, they're an iconic brand and a
Um,
great company.
so yeah, I mean, it just that seemed like a really great idea. And like I said, I looked it up and before, and I've been out there for a couple of years now. So, and I've never really seen them much though on the barbecue groups. So people must be keeping them hidden. They don't want anybody to know it.
Yeah, there's a few great videos of some enthusiasts have thrown out there on YouTube. Um, but yeah, I mean, we see comments in groups every now and then. I'll toot our horn a little bit, saying Weber should have done this product instead of the smoke fire. But
Right.
we can't blame them for that.
Or they should have designed their pellet grill around their kettle somehow, like you got
Right.
like Kamado Joe did with their ceramic grill, because I think that was one of the things that threw them off, is that they tried to build something from scratch. And I don't want to go back into that, but
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm not an engineer, but there's some things you can look at and go, why did they do that? But
Yeah. Yeah. Learn
and
from your
like you said,
lessons.
they're gonna fix it, I'm sure. But
Oh yeah.
it's great talking to you guys about all the stuff that you're into, because it's like I said at the beginning, you don't really have your own. I guess spider is your own, but I mean, you don't have a grill, because that actually works with another
Right.
grill. That's not a grill on its own, but you work with so many, uh, providing with the accessories and different things that go with these grills, that you're in the grilling business without actually being a grilling company. Now, do you think someday down the road you might think to yourself and go, "Hey, what if we took the Spider brand and came out with some kind of grill on our own?"
Yeah, we definitely have had those conversations internally, but we'll see where the tides take us. But for now,
Yeah,
we're having a great time doing what we're doing, and yeah, it's been a fun ride.
yeah, and there's a lot out there right now too. Like I
Yeah,
said, you're not just competing against, especially like with the Pellet Joe, you're competing against the pellet grills, the Kamado Joes, and every other type of grill that's out there now. So I mean, it's just all the different products and companies and accessories and all this new technology coming out. Every time you turn around, just it baffles me, and I love talking about it. But
yeah,
it's just, you would never think it would keep, just keep going and keep going, but it does. But I guess, the more things, change, the more they stay the same. We're still cooking outdoors, but we're just doing it a lot more efficient, I guess. So,
Right, something like that. Yeah, just
yeah.
different ways to make fire.
Well, I want to thank you, Joseph, for being on with me. I'm going to make sure people get to take a look at your website and check out the Pellet Joe. Check them out. I know there's a lot of videos out there already, people getting them and testing them out. So make sure you check them out on YouTube. Just do a Pellet Joe search, and you're going to see one of the biggest projects that they're working on right now. Check out the spider for your Weber kettles. You can turn it into a pellet grill. How far out are you on those, getting them in? Because you said you're back.
We're getting some more containers coming in actually next week, so we'll hopefully get a lot of back orders filled, and just try to keep them going, especially through the holidays. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. All righty, sir. Well, thanks for being on. I really appreciate it. Anything else you want to touch on? Anything else you want to talk about before we go?
Yeah, well, thanks, Darren. I really appreciate you having me on your show, and this has been great. Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck. I hope you guys can keep the Pellet Joe going as well. Hope that goes well as far as the release, and there's no bad things that come out of it.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
With a new product, but I mean, hey, so far, like I said, I haven't heard many complaints at all on it. Just the ones, the naysayers, you're going to have that. So
sure.
Thanks again. I appreciate it, and I'll see you another time. We'll talk about some new stuff you're working on.
Cool. Thanks, Darren. Take care, man.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys. I want to thank Joseph Pruitt, CEO of Atlas PMG, one more time for being on. Check out the Pellet Joe, Kamado Joe's new pellet grill. I'll check it out in the link below. Also, make sure you follow the Fire and Water Cooking YouTube channel, Facebook group, Facebook page, and the Fire and Water Cooking podcast. I'll see you in the next episode.